among the Plan Commission. So we will now call the meeting of the Waco Plan Commission to order on August 25, 2020 at 7:04 p.m. On March 16, 2020, the governor suspended various provisions of the Open Meetings Act pursuant to his state of disaster authority. The change was effective March 16, 2020 until further notice or until the state disaster declaration expires. In accordance with social distancing guidelines and while providing as much transparency as possible, the Waco Plan Commission meeting will not be open to the public. This meeting is being broadcasted live at www.wccc.tv. The audio is being recorded and the recording will be available to the public. According to the Attorney General, governmental bodies must offer members of the public alternative methods of communication with their public officials. In an effort to allow for as much public input as possible, those who wish to speak on public hearings were required to register with planning staff by noon on August 25th, 2020. We have numerous speakers registered and each will be allowed to speak for 3 minutes during the appropriate public hearing. The first item on our agenda is approval of the minutes of our July 28th, 2020 work session and business meeting. Are there any changes or additions to the minutes at this time? All right, seeing none, they stand approved as written. We will now move on to our public hearing agenda items, and we will start out with our subdivisions. Ms. Wharton, are you ready to present on these subdivisions?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chair and members of the commission, we have the first two items on your agenda are final plat and construction plans of Park Meadows South Addition Phase 2 and final plans of South Fork Phases 7, 8, 12 to 19 and 21 to 23. Planning Services recommends approval of items 1 and 2. And if you have any questions, just let us know.
We will now open the public hearing, and it looks like we have a speaker, a representative for the applicant. Is a Mark Rosetto present and available to speak to us?
Yes, I am.
Yes, sir. Is there anything you would like to, if you could give your name and address and then any comments you'd like to address to the commission.
My name is Mark Rosetto. I'm the Vice President of Development for the applicant. My address is 3000 Illinois Avenue, Killeen, Texas. And I'm speaking regarding the request for final approval and construction plan approval for Park Meadows South Phase 2. All I really have to say is I'd like to thank the staff for the opportunity to assist us in getting this phase approved. And let me know if you have any questions.
Do we have any questions for the applicant's representative? All right, seeing none. We will close the public hearing as to this agenda item. Are we taking up agenda items 1 and 2 together, Ms. Warden?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
All right, and the city's recommendation is approval in both of these cases. Do we have a motion?
I move we recommend approval of the final plat and construction plans for Park Meadows South Phase 2 and the final plats for the South Fork Phases 7, 8, 12 to 19, and 21 to 23.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Harris and a second by Reverend Briscoe. Do we have any discussion? It looks like all of the commission members are appearing by video. So if you would like to vote in favor of this motion, please extend your hand. All right. And it appears that it is unanimous for recommendation of approval to go to City Council on these two items. All right, Ms. Wharton, would we take up numbers 3 and 4 under our subdivisions?
Yes, Mr. Chair and members of the commission. This is a request for final plat and construction plans of Rolls Ranch Phase 4 and construction plans for Grand Meadow subdivision. And Planning Services recommends approval of items 3 and 4 with conditions outlined in the staff comment letters.
And we will open the public hearing, but I do not believe there are any speakers who are registered to speak on these two items. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I didn't hear you. I assume that's a no.
That is correct.
Okay. Are there any questions for city staff before we close the public hearing? Okay, let's close the public hearing. We have a recommendation of approval with conditions. Do we have a motion on these two items?
Mr. Chairman, I move we recommend approval on plats of Raw Ranch Part 4 and Grand Meadows Edition, subject to staff conditions.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Mayfield and a second by Mr. Harris. Do we have any discussion? All right, hearing none, we will take a vote on this matter. And all commissioners who would like to vote in approval for this, please raise your hand. All right, it's unanimous, carries and goes as a recommendation of approval with conditions to City Council. All right, Ms. Wharton, can we now take on the zoning applications?
Yes, Mr. Chair and members of the commission, this is a public hearing on a request from Golden Texas LLC for property at 2701 Herring Avenue for a request for special permit to allow a short-term rental type 2 in an R1B district. We mailed out 25 notices and had one returned with no comment. And Planning Services recommends approval of the request, subject to special provisions and conditions and based on the following findings. 1, that the proposed use is consistent with the comprehensive plan. 2, that the proposed use is compatible with the appropriate and orderly development of the area in which it is located. 3, that the proposed use would not be more objectionable to neighboring properties because of traffic congestion, noise, fumes, vibrations, or any other characteristics in any other use permitted in the zoning district without the grant of a special permit. And 4, that available community facilities and services, including the road system providing access to the proposed use, are adequate for the proposed use. These findings are required for the granting of a special permit as per section 28-122 of the City of Waco zoning ordinance.
Okay. We will now open the public hearing in this matter. I believe we have a speaker, a Chris Wiebold, who is here. If Chris Wiebold could just give your address and then address your comments to the commission.
Yes, my name is Chris Wiebold. My address is actually out of state. I'm 1112 Pinecrest Road, Moscow, Idaho 83843. I am here for my sister-in-law, Sonia Medrano, who lives in Waco. She owns Golden Texas LLC, and she just recently purchased 2701 Herring, and it's already a functioning STR, and we're just trying to continue operating as we were. So any questions or comments, I'm happy to try to answer those.
Any questions for Mr. Wiebold? Yes, sir. Is Ms. Medrano going to also be appearing to speak, or are you speaking on her behalf here tonight?
At this time, I think I'm speaking on her behalf. She was up all night, and I'm not sure if she made it to the call.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for being with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Ms. Warden, is Ms. Medrano on the call to join us as well?
No, sir, we don't see her on there.
Okay. Are there any other questions of Mr. Wiebold or the city staff in this matter? All right, hearing none, let's go ahead and close the public hearing. We have a motion, no, we don't have a motion, but we have a recommendation of approval from the city. Do we have any motions at this time?
A motion we accept city staff recommendation with the special provisions.
I'll second.
All right, we've got a motion by Mr. Cole and a second by Mr. Harris. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none. Let's take a vote, and I believe we're all appearing by video, so if you vote in favor, please just lift your right hand. All right, if you vote opposed, please lift your hand. All right, we have, I believe, 7, sorry, 1, 2, 3. We've got a 7-to-1 vote in favor, carries as a recommendation of approval to the City Council. All right, I believe we've got Z-20-55, Ms. Warden.
Yes, Mr. Chair and members of the commission, this is a public hearing on a request from Enrique and Laura Nahida for property at 3601 Orchard Lane for a special permit to allow a short-term rental type 2 in an R1B district. We mailed out 5 notices and had 0 returned. Planning Services recommends approval of the special permit, subject to special provisions and conditions, and based on the findings required for the granting of a special permit as per section 28-122 of the City of Waco zoning ordinance that were previously read on record.
Okay, I see we're joined by Ms. Nahara. We can open the public hearing. Ma'am, if you would give us your name and your address.
Yes, sir. It's Laura Nahida. My address is 3601 Orchard Lane, Waco, Texas. I don't really have anything to say, but I'm here in case y'all have any questions. Thank you for looking at our application.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have questions for city staff or the applicant in this case? Okay, hearing none, let's go ahead and close the public hearing. Oh, I'm sorry, did I miss one speaking? I guess it was the echo of my own voice, I'm sorry. Okay, we have a recommendation of approval from the city. Do we have a motion in this case?
Move we recommend approval of the type 2 permit based on staff findings and conditions.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Harris and a second by Mr. Gomez. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Let's go ahead and all in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Appears to be unanimous, and so motion carries, goes as a recommendation of approval to City Council. And just as a note to city staff, I do see the speakers now for the last 2 cases are still on the call. I don't know if that matters or not. But now we'll take up Z-20-56.
Sure. Anyone who is registered can stay on the call. They would just not be allowed to speak unless it's their time to speak.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chair and members of the commission, this is a public hearing on a request from Golden Texas LLC and City of Waco for property at 1803 to 1805, 1809, 1817, 1821, and 1825 Bagby Avenue to rezone from R2 to O3. We mailed out 28 notices and had 0 returned. Planning Services recommends approval of the request to change the zoning from R2 to O3 based on the following findings. 1, the proposed zoning is in keeping with the land use component of the comprehensive plan and the Imagine Waco plan for greater downtown. 2, the public infrastructure is adequate to provide for uses allowed in the O3 zoning district. 3, the property meets all the area and width requirements for the O3 zoning district. 4, there is O3 zoning near the subject properties. And 5, O3 zoning provides a buffer from commercial zoning to the west and along Interstate 35 and residential zoning to the east.
Okay, and I believe we are also joined again by Chris Wiebold coming to us from Idaho, I believe. So welcome back on this one. Is there anything you would like to contribute?
No, same as before. I'm here to answer any questions. Sonia is actually trying to get on the call, but she may miss her opportunity here. She's not so technically savvy. So any questions that anybody has, I'd be happy to answer. She's on a landline next to me in case anybody wants me to ask her a question. So sorry about that, but she is available if we need to ask her something.
Do you want us to, kind of see if she can log in, or do you think it's okay if she can't get connected?
If you guys are okay with it, she's fine with me handling it. She kind of prefers that, but I'd be happy to grab her and put her on if that would be helpful for any of you.
Do any commission members have questions for either Ms. Medrano or Mr. Wiebold? Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
At this time, we will close the public hearing. We have a recommendation in this matter for approval. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move we recommend approval of the rezoning from R2 zoning to O3 zoning based upon staff findings.
I will second that.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Gomez and a second by Mr. Harris. All in favor, if you would raise your hand. All right, it appears to be unanimous. Goes as recommendation to City Council of approval. Thank you, Mr. Wiebold and Ms. Medrano. We appreciate you being with us here today. All right, moving on to case Z-20-59, Ms. Wharton.
Yes, Mr. Chair and members of the commission, this is a public hearing on a request from Delphi Properties LLC for property at 1324 North 34th Street to rezone from R1B to R2. We mailed out 26 notices and had 1 returned opposed. Planning Services recommends approval of this request to change the zoning from R1B to R2 based on the following findings. 1, the proposed zoning is in keeping with the land use component of the comprehensive plan. 2, the public infrastructure is adequate to provide for uses allowed in the R2 zoning district. 3, the property meets all the area and width requirements for the R2 zoning district. And 4, the property is adjacent to multifamily zoning. And I just wanted to make you aware that we do have alternate findings if the commission chooses to recommend disapproval.
And Ms. Wharton, would you confirm there are none who are registered to speak on this matter? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Do we have any questions for city staff or any comments?
Yeah, one question I had is this 2 individual lots or is this 1 single lot? And the follow-up question to that is, would the rezone, I think previously there was a single family home on the lot. Would the rezone or the developer to be able to fit 2 duplex structures on there? Would they be able to fit multiple duplexes on the property if they could fit it inside, lot lines, or would it be, or is it a single lot that would be limited to a single duplex in theory if the zoning was changed?
So it's my understanding that MCAD has it listed as 1 address, but it is 2 separate parcels of property. They would be subject to meeting all of our setback requirements. If it remains as R1B or if it goes to R2 zoning, whether they put a single family home or a duplex, they're still subject to the same building setback requirements, which are 25 feet from the front property line and the rear property line, and then 5 feet on each side.
We have a motion in this case. Or any other questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman, I move we recommend disapproval of this request based on the fact that it's incompatible with existing single-family use and the fact that there's already adequate amount of zoning which allows a higher density of residential use in that area.
I second that.
All right, we've got a motion by Mr. Mayfield and a second by Mr. Harris. Do we have any discussion about this motion? Okay, hearing none, we have a motion to disapprove. And so all in favor of that motion to disapprove, please indicate by upward right hand. Appears to be unanimous. So the motion carries to disapprove this application based on the findings and found by Mr. Mayfield's motion. So this will go as a recommendation of disapproval of the City Council. All right, Ms. Wharton, I believe we're on Z-20-60.
Yes, Mr. Chair and members of the commission, this is a public hearing on a request from Eli Eden Holdings LLC, Series 500 South 11th, for property at 500 South 11th Street to rezone from M2 to O2. Planning Services, we mailed out 11 notices and had 0 returned. Planning Services recommends approval of this request to change the zoning from M2 to O2 based on the following findings. 1, the proposed zoning is in keeping with the land use component of the comprehensive plan and the Imagine Waco, a plan for greater downtown. 2, the public infrastructure is adequate to provide for uses allowed in the O2 zoning district. 3, the property meets all the area and width requirements for the O2 zoning district. And 4, there is O2 zoning near the subject property.
And Ms. Worden, we don't have any registered speakers on this matter, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Well, we will open and close the public hearing. Do we have a motion in this matter?
Mr. Chairman, I move we recommend approval of the rezoning from M2 zoning to O2 zoning based on staff findings.
All right, we've got a motion by Mr. Gomez and a second by Mr. Cole. Do we have any discussion? All right, all in favor of this motion, please indicate by upward right hand. All right, it is unanimous, motion carries, goes as a recommendation of approval to City Council. Finally, Ms. Worden, I believe we have one abandonment case, ABD-20-05 to close us out here tonight. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair and members of the commission, this is a request, this is a public hearing on a request from City of Waco for abandonment of the following easements. A 20-foot wide 0.23 acre utility easement described as a 0.23 acre tract of land situated in the TJ Chambers grant, abstract number 7, McLennan County, Texas, and being all of a called 0.23 acre tract of land described as a perpetual easement and a deed of to City of Waco as recorded in MCC number 2017-0405023 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas. A 20-foot 0.052 acre utility easement described as a 0.052 acre tract of land situated in the TJ Chambers grant, abstract number 7, McLennan County, Texas, and being a portion of a called 0.513 acre tract of land described as a perpetual easement and a deed to City of Waco as recorded in MCC number 2017-013061 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas, and a 20-foot wide 0.018 acre utility easement described as a 0.018 acre tract of land situated in the TJ Chambers grant, abstract number 7, McLennan County, Texas, and being a portion of the remainder of that called 52.96 acre tract of land, tract 2, described in a deed of to City of Waco, a municipal corporation as recorded in volume 227, page 57 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas. We mailed out 1 notice and had 0 returned. Planning Services recommends approval of the abandonment request based on the following findings. Abandoning the easements is necessary in order to record new easements needed in accordance with revised construction plans.
We have no registered speakers in this matter, is that right?
That's right.
Okay. Do we have any questions for city staff? All right, we will open and close the public hearing. Do we have a motion?
Move we recommend approval of the 3 abandonments in ABD 20-05.
Second.
Staff recommendation.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Harris and a second by Mr. Mayfield. Do we have any discussion? All right, hearing none. If you would like to vote in favor, please indicate by your upward turned right hand. All right, let's see, 8. All right, it's unanimous, goes as a recommendation of approval to the City Council. Ms. Worden, do we have any other business to conduct here this evening?
No, sir, that's all. Thank you very much for all of your patience with our virtual meetings.
Well, thank you all. I feel like it's starting to hum a little bit. We're getting it down. So thank you, city staff, for all your good work in setting these up and for getting the public's participation. We thank all the commissioners for their dedication to the work on this commission and also to the Capital Improvements Advisory Committee, doing double duty this month. So thank you all. Good to see you again, and we'll see you again soon. This concludes our business meeting, and we are adjourned.
Thank you.